Well, hey, Kishshana, thank you so much for coming on the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. I am excited to talk to you.
So excited. Oh my gosh.
And I love so many things about the book that we're going to talk about today. So, we're all about overcoming overwhelm here. So, naming your book, Busy is a four-letter word. Love that. And then you bring in this really cool combination of like the Golden Girls, which I love.
Obsessed.
Yeah, in high school, I had a group of friends and we like each took a personality.
Oh my gosh. Who are you?
I think they made me Rose.
That
Which,
means you were like the most loved. I just want you to know,
okay,
okay?
good, 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 good.
I am just gonna say that for the record. You were the most
Yeah.
loved, and everybody else should be jealous. Thank you and good night.
So Golden Girls and Different World, like it's so great how you weave those together within the book. So I can't wait to jump in, but first I want to make sure that we can introduce you. So
Absolutely.
can you just tell us about you and your family, kind of how you serve others
Yeah.
and anything you like to do for fun?
Ooh, okay. So, I would like to say that I thought I could say I'm an empty nester because I have a 19-year-old queenager who is a sophomore in college. But just when I saw the tunnel, the light open up to get out of the parenting hood. And fellow moms, y'all know what I'm talking about. This is the straight ghetto. Okay? I don't care how much we love these babies, but honey. Then I had the nerve to fall in love. Okay, Emily. And now I have the most precious, adorable 8-year-old bonus baby. And I'm back in the parentinghood. Back. No,
Wow.
no trap scene around the world, carefree and footloose for me. No 2-week cruises. I am being a mom the second time around is so interesting. And I have several girlfriends who have like a grown child and they have like the little ones. And I'm always like, why would you want to do that to yourself? What? You're almost done. We're almost gone. But there is something about the wisdom of having your first one. And I had my daughter when I was in my mid 20s. And so, you don't know that then. My frontal cortex, it was barely developed. Okay. Um, and so I was a solo mom. And so now this time doing it with a partner is just a very different experience for me. And for fun. Okay. So I am an avid shopper. And so I'm always tickled when my girlfriends, a lot of us who are moms, are like, Ashana, I don't have time to go to the store. You like that stuff. Can you? So every single day, Emily, I get a text message from a girlfriend with like, help, I have this gala, help, the PTA annual dance, help. Can you talk to this child about so and so? So I think helping other moms to feel really good about themselves and to remind them that it's okay to take good care of yourself, right? Honestly, it's fun for me. I know, nerdy. It's terrible. It's weird. Yeah. So
Well,
that's one of the things I did. This year,
I,
though, I'm learning how to make wreaths because I'm obsessed with all of the like maximalist awesomeness of these like super overdone wreaths. I love them. I'm obsessed. And I have several. And I was like, I'm not paying for this anymore. I'm just gonna learn to make it. So that'll be this year. We'll see how it goes.
wow. Oh, well, I need you as my personal shopper too, because I
Happy to do
I
it.
don't like shopping at all. And oh my gosh, yeah, I love that. And my oldest is 8. So we're kind of in a similar season,
Yes.
interestingly enough. And yeah, I'm just curious as coming we jump in here, like I feel like your life experiences as being like a solo mom, and then I know being the child of immigrant parents, but
Yeah.
especially the oldest child of immigrant
This
parents,
child.
there's a lot of responsibility and expectations that come with that.
Yeah.
And you kind of bring that into the book, kind of talking about how that sort of shaped your view of a lot of things, including busyness and work
Yeah.
ethic and rest, probably, and self-care.
All of
And
it.
I'm just curious, like, what were some of the pieces of that your experiences brought you to that probably led you to write a book all about how busy is a
Yeah.
four-letter word?
So honestly, it was literal exhaustion. And being oldest in family, and it doesn't matter if your parents are immigrants or if your parents worked the farm and you did too, or if your parents owned a store, like Any of us who've had parents who you had to get in the thick of it with them way earlier than you think you might have wanted to, right? Um, it taught me that rest was laziness. Like, and even to this day, and I wrote a whole book, I still have to get weekly reminders from my fiance, like, you're supposed to be laying down and doing nothing. Do you understand what nothing means? Like last night we were doing like vision boarding for the year and we're gonna do our business planning, whatever. And so we're doing our fun activity. His side, streamlined, clear, 9 things. Very, very, and it's nice. He cut it out. I was like, oh, proud of him. He did a good job. My side, razzle dazzle. It had like, and he was like, take some of that stuff off. Take it off. And I think that it teaches you that you've got to stay moving. Otherwise, you are at risk of. And so it could be at risk of poverty. It could be at risk of not having food or not having shelter. It could be at risk of not getting out of your small town. It could be at risk of whatever is the thing that is running through the veins of your parents at night, and they are not talking with you about it, but they are acting on these fears and anxieties and worries. Some warranted, some not. And so I think for me, years of that, and then being rewarded for it, right? Look at Kishshana. I went to the aquarium with my daughter over Christmas break, and yes, a whole about to be 20-year-old, and she was like, the aquarium. So never stop doing things with your kids. I don't care how much they roll their eyes. I don't care how much they like kicking to take them babies and put them in some wonder because it will take you right back to that snapshot of when they were just the squishiest, most awesome, and they need that infusion of wonder, right? And so we were at the aquarium. We went to go see a seals exhibit, which is one of her favorite. And the seals was like, "Erp, erp, erp," and I think that's how we used to respond as kids when adults would tell us we did a good job. We just wanted more praise, right? You wanted to feel like somebody sees me. And if you get praise for doing a lot of stuff, then what do you keep doing, y'all? A lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So how many of us were cheerleaders, volleyball team, a dance team, doing ballet when you know that you were not supposed to be on nobody's point? Okay. A twirler in the band, in the chorus, Bible bowl. Like I could just keep going at the number of activities that folks were doing in abundance and just over the top to the point where you barely had time to sleep. And then for those of us who needed to work or wanted to work so we can get our own pocket money, depending on how, your age range, you're in my age range, you're like, oh, I was going to get a job because you're not going to tell me I could not get allowance. Um, you just been moving, right, Emily? Like, and that to me is a recipe for working yourself to death and going, but people like me.
hmm Yeah, we were talking about the seals. It reminded me. So I always would say to my husband, I'm like, I feel like I got all the gold stars growing up, but like, where are my gold stars now as a mom? And he
Mhm.
literally went on Amazon and bought gold star stickers.
And let me tell you something, that would have made my whole day. Okay. That would have made my whole
So
day. You have no idea.
sometimes it'll be like a parenting win, and he'll just
Yes.
very, very quietly, he'll go get an index card and he'll get the gold star and he hands it to me. And
And
he's like,
he'd
good
have made my whole day. You don't have to bring me no rose,
job.
nothing. Just give me my gold star and let me be.
Exactly.
You
Yeah. And
know?
so then it's like, okay, well, that's just how it is. That's how we're getting the praise. That's how we're getting acceptance. That's how
Yes.
we're getting self-validation.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem to end because in our careers and these other things, it's like we're getting that validation as well until it's too late and we've run
Mm-hmm.
ourselves into the ground. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, what are we supposed to do now? And so I'm going to switch it up a little bit with the
Sure.
question here, because we're talking about, how difficult it is to say no. And for me, it's
Okay.
with the stuff at the school. Like
Ah.
I do things at the school. I like do the Friday folders and I do different things. And yet anytime that request for volunteers comes through, I get this kind of twitch and I'm kind of like, oh, I have to say yes. I have
And
to
you see
say
my
yes.
hand, and my hand is sliding up and it's shaking. It's in my hand. It's shaking because my hand is like, put your hand down. I'm like,
Put your hands.
no, but I need to.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. And so one of the examples that you give in the book, which I love, is our friend Blanche
Yes.
from Golden Girls. And is her last name pronounced Devereaux? I'm
Yes.
going to just say that. Okay.
Devereaux. Hmm.
Devereaux. The Blanche Devereaux art of graceful declination when we are
Yes.
saying no to something, because this is my hardest thing for me, because I am the recovering people pleaser.
Hmm.
Like my validation is when I can help people.
Same.
And so, how do we embrace this side of Blanche so we can stop our hands from going up in the air?
So for me, so this was very, 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 very real for me with my oldest and now with my younger one, because there's more spread. I don't feel
Yeah.
it as much. That and I really realize that these babies don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And so part of that no, particularly for school, is because your kids really just want you to be present. If you notice that you worked and
Mhm.
you made all of the props, you made the costumes, you were there early, you're taping stuff, and these kids run right past you to their friends and they do the little thing and they mess up their lines and then they're like, "Oh, look at me," and then they roll out. They don't even say thank you. Okay. So ultimately, who are we saying yes for?
Mhm.
If we're being honest, more times than not, it's not for these kids. It's for the mom squads, right? Because our mom squads have become a replication of the schoolyard ecosystem that many of us experienced growing up.
Yeah.
So if you were a part of the cool kids growing up, you want to do things to be a part of the cool kids. If you were a mean girl growing up, you a mean mom. Let's be honest. Okay? Or worse, if you weren't a mean girl growing up and now you have advanced socioeconomically, or you're married well, or whatever. All of a sudden, now you got your second chance. And so when we're getting ready to decide whether we're going to say yes or no, I just want us to pause 30 seconds. Who is this for?
Hmm.
Because I realized that it was for me to show people that I could do this no matter what. And the reality is, no one actually cares. It sucks. They don't care about me. I just want, my ego. Can I help but be hurt by the fact that you don't care about me for real? But no one's paying attention beyond that moment.
Right.
So when I started saying yes, because I was class mom from kindergarten all the way to high school. And then in high school, I was teen mom. And I was teen mom from 4 years old to graduation from high school. How I managed to pull all that stuff off, one never knows. And then to make it worse, Emily, I was the neighborhood drop-in mom. So you think you have an only child that maybe it might be quiet. But no, my Costco bill looked like I had a small football team at my. So it got easier for me to say no when I said to Sanai, how important is this to you?
Hmm.
If there was, and with your 8-year-old, you could do it. They're old enough now. They give you any one of those answers? Whoop, no. How long is it going to take me to do that? And do I like the people who are going to be there? If the answer is maybe, the answer is no.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. That's speaking
Right?
to me. That's speaking to my soul today. Thank you.
Is that a skill that I'm like, if you said to me, Kishshana, your job on the mom committee is to make sure that we all have the outfits look good. Can you source the place for them to pay? Yes, every time. Right? To the point if I said no, I'd be like, are you okay? Are you sick? Somebody's gonna have to jump in because Kishshana, she said no. But if I say yes to all of the things, even the things I really do not love to do and I would not do if left to my own devices and no one was looking, the answer is no.
Yeah.
With kindness, though.
Hmm.
Maybe it's better if this is what I would say. Have you talked to Emily about that? Oh my God, she really loves fill in the blank. Why don't we see if she has capacity? And so, a way to get to a graceful no, right, is to get to know the people that you have to be in the chorus of yes with.
Mm.
And so, I'm not the aloof mom on the soccer field. I know all the soccer moms, even the ones I don't really like that much. They're not coming to my house, but I do know them. I know who gets there early, who gets there late, who likes a little nip in their coffee. We're not going to talk about that, but we do it sometimes, right? So, getting to understand the fabric of what motivates people just from observation, that 30-second pause, who is this for?
Yeah. Oh,
I
that,
think it'll help more times than not. Not
yeah.
perfect, but it works.
I love that. I love that so much. And I'm going to have you in my ear. Who is this for? Who is this
This
for?
is
Just to
for.
remember that.
Yes.
Well, one of the things I loved in the book, because a lot of times moms, they think, oh, only if I had the right routines, like my life would be better if I had the perfect morning routine, and which doesn't exist, of course, but
Ever.
ever. But you talk in the book about how you changed from this like routine-based thinking to a ritual-based one, and I find that really fascinating. And I would love
Mhm.
it if you could tell us kind of what the difference is,
Yep.
and then some of the rituals that are like really important to
Mhm.
you in your day.
Yep. So routines, as y'all know, the things you just do over and over again. You get up, you might have your morning coffee. You got to make some of us cut the edges off the sandwiches, and then you got to do the so and so, and it's the order in which you do the thing, right? So what I decided, so for example, and I didn't know this until I was like a whole grown lady. My stepmom growing up used to get up at 4:30. So on the weeks we were with my dad, um, by the time we got up for school at 6:15, she was already awake, like alert. And I didn't know it until I was an adult and a mom that she got up at 4:30 every day because that was her 2 hours before we got up
Mhm.
to have time for herself. She had a slow coffee run. She got to read her scripture. She got to watch a little novella. She had to do what she wanted to do for herself every day. And I said, huh, okay, that's the routine. That's what kept her sanity. What's the ritual? The kind of coffee that she loved, Bustelo. The
Mm.
way that she brewed her coffee, French press. The mug she drank from, always fancy. We got the plain stuff. She got the fancy one, right? The morning robe she wrapped herself in, plush. And so it got me thinking, what if I just elevated the stuff that I do every day? So when I stick my feet out of my bed in the morning, I slide into some plush slippers. They are very nice. They're not the most expensive, they're not the cheapest, but they are fancy and fluffy. Okay. When I slide to the bathroom and I close the door behind me, I talk to my Alexa. I don't want to say it too loud. She'd be like, "Hello, do you need me?" Um, and I say, "Good morning, morning routine." And she starts with an affirmation, and then she starts with my good morning song because I pick one every like a couple times a year. I change my good morning song. That's just an affirmation for me. And then she starts my playlist. I
Ooh.
haven't heard a reminder, a calendar appointment. There's nothing for these kids because I have another alarm that says, "Go and get this baby up," right?
Mhm.
And then when I start my shower, I have very nice soap in there. Okay, it is fancy. And listen, when I say fancy, it's to the point where I had to tell the children and my fiance, don't touch my soap. You know how expensive this soap is? $36. And so the fancy stuff goes for me. They get the dove. I get the
Yeah.
schmancy stuff you can't pronounce. Okay, that's good for my skin. And then when I get out the shower, I'm in there for a while. I have my affirmations. I'm big on affirmations. So I recorded my voice on affirmations to talk to myself every day because as a recovering
Mhm.
people pleaser and perfectionist, that negative loop is way louder than the positive one. So I'm training the positive loop by hearing myself
Mm.
talk to me every day, talk to me kindly every day. And I don't rush my shower. And I don't take long showers, 10 minutes in and out. But that's enough for me to do two affirmations, hear a song in the background, go head to toe twice, put a face mask on. And then when I get out, my face routine is bar none. That is where I just take it up a notch. I turn my incense on. You see how much stuff I've done? And I am in and out of that bathroom in under 20 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. But that 20 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes most of the time, that time, don't talk to me. Okay. And so my skincare products, how I put my stuff on, and I don't wear makeup. I don't have makeup now. I wear makeup on stage, so I typically don't wear makeup when I'm home. But the way I do my skincare, you would think that I have this little glass skin that the young people have on now. And I do, yes, me too. Um, and so for me, ritual is about what is the care and the feeding that you give to yourself? How do you set your environment? How do you set the stage? How do you create that micro moment of luxury
Hmm.
for yourself with what you have?
Yeah.
So I'm not encouraging anybody to go out and get fancy soap. If that's not your jam of the jam, you're like, that is not in the budget. But whether it's candles from CVS, soft music playing on your phone, or just not turning on the bathroom in light in the morning, that you do your stuff in the dark because you like to just ease into your day. Creating that opportunity for you to come to yourself in a way that is peaceful before the pandemonium, I think is a part of creating rituals out of the routines and stuff you do every day.
Yeah. What I really appreciate, I mean, I appreciate a lot of what you were saying, but when we have the overwhelmed mom who has the negative loop going on, a lot of times it's hard to get out of that and to recognize that it doesn't have to be this whole other thing. It can be, like you said, the micro moments in your day that you're just
Mhm.
elevating a bit and recognizing, like, okay, even if I have all this
Yep.
stuff going on and the kids are going to get up and all the things, I can carve out that little bit for me and what is actually important and having that mindfulness in that moment. Like, for example, for me, I don't drink coffee, but I love my chai tea. So part of
Yes.
my morning ritual is making my chai tea latte and using our little aerator thing that foams it
Mm-hmm.
up and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that is like the morning of ritual, like you said, before I check the phone, before anyone can expect anything of me, that I'm able to have that. And that is like my sanctum, my sacred space.
That's it.
And and it doesn't have to be long because we
No.
know that's not realistic. Like we're not gonna sit here and be like, I always joke when people talk about morning routines and they're like, oh, I just want to sit by the window with the sun streaming through and, write in my journal for 2 hours. Like, no, like that's
No.
not gonna happen.
No.
So let's
Absolutely
be
not.
realistic about
Yes.
that. And that kind of brings me to my next question, similar about the elevating and kind of having that ritual mindset. Another Golden Girls reference, the cheesecake strategy, which is about finding joy and connection. Can you tell us, for those that are not familiar with the show, maybe what
Yes.
the big deal is about cheesecake,
Oh
and
my
then
God.
the cheesecake strategy and what that means as far as bringing
Yeah.
more joy to our lives?
So on the Golden Girls, they spent almost all of their time around the kitchen table. And it was almost always late at night, almost always in their loungewear, or their muumuus, and it was almost always over dessert. And how many of us can identify with that late night? Let me go get myself a little slice of joy, okay? Because some
Yeah.
of us is scoop of ice cream, some of us is our chai tea at nighttime, some of us is our little thing, a little macaroon or whatever we like, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the cheesecake strategy is about taking those moments back for a little sweet stuff in your life. And I think when we get into the kind of like rut of, oh, these darn kids, oh, we're shuttling them everywhere. Okay. So we
Mm.
are the Uber drivers. Okay. I do not want to be Uber driver again. I resist it every week that the baby is here. I resist. And so the cheesecake strategy to me is about what are those moments of like just like chunky joy and that's like delicious sweetness that you can have in community. So
Mhm.
are you sharing fun stuff in your mom chat and not just more ways to do things faster, higher, more scholarships, more this, more that, more get your kid into this and you're watching your kid in that and Billy did this. That. No, funny things, things to bring our blood pressure down, things to decrease our cortisol, right? Things to help us to start to just disengage with the pressure of having to be perfect moms.
Yeah.
And I think that's for me is what it is. And you can't do that by yourself for long. You got to do that in community. And so if you find yourself with a crew that every time you step to be with them, you love them or you like them, but you always feel like rosy faced or you feel like your heart racing and quicken, or you feel something that just makes you feel off, that's your body telling you they might be good people, but the collective energy y'all are bringing together is a little bit more rotten fruit than cheesecake. And so if you don't feel like you are in a space to speak up to that or to speak to that directly in that group, then you get to decide how you want to engage with the people in your life. You are not forced to be in any group of other mothers. You are not forced to be in any social settings or activities. We might feel pressured to, but it is pressure that is of our own doing. And I just think I want us to be mindful that there's a sweetness to motherhood that many of us do not get to enjoy because we get into the business
Mhm.
of motherhood. And I
Yeah.
want us to get to the sweetness.
Yeah, I just had a conversation. I'm lucky to be in a townhome neighborhood where the moms of the kids of similar ages, we really get along really well. And just at the bus stop, and again, we're thinking of the logistics. There's a teacher work day tomorrow. So what are we doing with the kids? Like all the logistics. And
Hmm.
then we recognize, oh my gosh, someone had a birthday the other day. Like we need to go out and celebrate. Like we need to spend time together. But oftentimes it just is hard to
Yep.
prioritize that because the immediacy of whatever's going on in our lives and the kids' lives takes precedence. But I really appreciate that. And I'll think about when we're having our margaritas and chips that we're really having cheesecake.
That's it. And listen, margaritas and chips are your cheesecake for me because a good margarita never hurt anybody, okay? And don't let
Yep.
the guac be fresh. And I just want us as moms to remember that we, if you identify, are women first, right?
Mhm.
If that is how you identify, our first title is actually not mother. And your greatest love is actually yourself. I heard Mel Robbins say that the other day. I was listening to her book, The Let Them Theory. That thing blew my whole mind. And if you read my book and her book together, I'm just telling you, you might come in a brand new person. I just want you to know. That's what people tell me. But one of the things that I realize is that, like, hey, the more that and it could be because I have the privilege of having an older, right? Like I have an older kid now. And she will say to me, Mom, and these are her words, Mom, I give you a lot of grace because I remember this one time when I was in middle school, and I know I was crazy then, Mom. So for all my moms who have middlers, that is the alien portion of the program. Okay? So just know that they have landed. They will occupy and you stick with it because they will go if you do.
Mhm.
But she said that I said to her, look, kid, I had you when I was 25. I didn't know nothing. My mother didn't know nothing. We are learning together. Okay. I know more than you, but I still know nothing. So just go with it. All right. And it was that and my ability to apologize, which for many, many, many families, regardless of where you're from, our parents did not apologize. They do not know what it is to apologize. So that we try to parent from our pain. So we're over apologizing and over explaining and over. No, baby, just relax. Okay. But I know how to say sorry. If I'm wrong, if my kid says, Mom, or I see the big eyes coming, I said, oh, heck, I done did it again. And so those two things, her being able to articulate that she gives me grace because I was able to recognize my own humanity, coupled with my ability to be able to apologize when I have really just like done too much in the motherhood department, that really gave me the like, I did a good thing. I'm
Yeah.
a good mom. And all
Yeah.
of the stuff that I was doing, all of the places I twisted my pretzel self into a pretzel to be, she doesn't care about that stuff. And they don't remember the things we remember. I just want y'all to know.
Well, that gives me hope coming beside you and behind you here
Yeah.
as far as my kids' ages. And one of the things that I was remembering just as far as like when you're talking about your affirmations and having it be your own voice and kind of responding to that, which I think is amazing. That's such a great idea and so
Mhm.
personal because a lot of times we have in our head it going on and on. I'm a bad mom because, or I really, screwed up because, and,
Mhm.
if I was a good enough mom, I would do this.
Mhm.
And you mentioned this book that's well known, The Body Keeps the Score,
Yep.
which is an amazing book. And you highlight this quote: the greatest sources of our suffering are the lies we tell ourselves.
That's right.
And I was curious, what are some of the lies that you have maybe told yourself, or ones that you think really harm us as moms, where we need to take that negative loop and we really need to be able to shift to that more positive affirmations to get us out of the overwhelm that we tend to
Yeah.
find ourselves in?
So one of them is I ruined my kid.
Oh.
I blamed myself for my divorce. I didn't see it coming. I didn't understand that my ex-husband and we had great parents, but you don't know what you don't know. So we weren't getting the advice we needed on how to stick with things. There was just an expectation that we stick with things, right? And so I blamed myself for her being an only child, that I robbed her of the opportunity to have siblings, particularly because I am super close to mine. And the reality is, I was talking to my therapist about this the other day. I realized, and I'm not sure, but I'm gonna hedge a bet. Functional medicine is a thing that I've had three miscarriages after having Sinai. Um, and I believe in part that I was not able to keep my womb healthy because of the level of stress I was under.
Mm.
Guilt, stress, overwork, doing too much, worry, all these things, they literally turn inward and give your body dis-ease. And I'm sure there were other things that were happening. I'm not a medical doctor, but I can't help but if I think critically at what was happening in my life at that moment, that it was the height and then the pit of stress. And so that was a lie I kept telling myself. And Sanai's like, "My look, you also said if you couldn't wrap it up by the time I was 10, that it was a wrap, right?" I did say that. I was like, "Look, man, I'm gonna do the best I can. But by the time you turn 10, if I can't turn this corner, that's it. That's all I got." So I brought a lot of humor to it, but I felt guilty, right? And I
Mhm.
felt like I was a bad mom. Um, to lies I told myself was that I had to buy more and be at everything and do more and basically be perfect because of this thing that I did to her, right? And I think that I told myself that I wasn't as good as other moms because I was working a lot. And I actually really love to work. And also, a really long time ago, I'm gonna send you this link, Emily. I wrote this blog post years ago when she was small called that I'm a 3 hour mom.
Mhm.
And it was before I had her, I had this idea that I was gonna do arts and crafts and DIY and do her hair, and I was gonna paint and mud and da. And let me tell y'all, I hate all of it. Okay. There's none of it. I didn't like it as a child. So I don't know why I thought then all of a sudden, magically as an adult, that I was gonna like the things I did not want to do when it was age appropriate for me to do it. Right.
Mhm.
And I had to come to like a reckoning with myself that I'm not a bad mom because I do best in 3 hour sprints. I'm giving it the best that I got between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. bedtime. I am giving it the best I got between two activities on Saturday, and then you need to go read, play with your friends or your cousins, and leave me alone.
Yeah.
I do not have to recreate you every hour of the day. Figure it
Mhm.
out, friend. You
Mhm.
know, those are some of the things that I told myself. And I wonder what kind of lies we are telling ourselves. What are we saying to ourselves on the inside about the mom we imagine we should be? Who is our mental model
Yeah.
of the kind of parent that we should be? And I think those are my big two. Um, so I overspent and I overshared. And I definitely was like, oh, I'm gonna have to pay for your therapy for the rest of your life, which I do. It ain't gonna be for the rest of her life, okay? But I am committed until 25. Because I know that the extra sessions that she has on the couch are in part because of me. And that acceptance flipped that lie.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, I always joke with my husband anytime my kids have, some sort of blow ups or something, or have made this massive mistake. I'm just like, I think I'm gonna deposit some more in the therapy fund today.
Just saying. It's
Got
a
the
beautiful
college,
thing.
yeah, got the college fund, got the therapy fund, we got all the
Yep.
things.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, Kishana, this has been a joy. I
It is.
think that this is just, I love interviews where I am laughing the whole time and but also feeling so deeply all the things that you and I know all the listeners have struggled with
Yeah.
because the perfectionism and the lies that we're being told
Oof.
and the lies that we're believing, they're real and they're out there. So I hope that this conversation has brought everyone as much encouragement that it has brought me.
That's
And
all.
I would love it if you could tell us where we can get the book and best
Absolutely.
way that everyone can connect with you.
Well, I'm always going to say start with your favorite independent bookseller
Mhm.
before you go to the big box. Or the big boxes are probably going to look at me like, you better talk about me. You can always go to KishshanaPalmer.com/book, where not only will you be able to buy my book through one of your favorite independent booksellers, but you'll also be able to get some freebies and some digital swag so that you can be a part of the Busy Bees. And, actually, the Busy Bees are a crew where we're just trying to do less things, which is kind of funny because our name is the
Mhm.
Busy Bees. But an opportunity for you to start to engage in the work in a way that works for your life.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to do a darn thing more. I'm not asking you to be more productive. I'm not giving you productivity hacks. I, I want you to just do less and give your shot so that you can actually achieve more of what you want in your life. So you have the
Yeah.
life you love, you have the career or business that you want and love, and you can be healthy AF while you do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'll make sure to link to all of that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
And thank you again, Kishana. This has
Thank
really been a
you.
joy.
Same, same. Thank you for having me.